This is the centrally assessed property. They, for the last 5 years, they've been delinquent, well, 6 now, because they were delinquent in 17. And we how do I say that? We took it off the tax sale because there's nothing there to sell at a tax sale. But we still need to do something to either take that off our tax roll or just change it. I don't know what you want to do as far as make it, do you want to make it exempt? Do you want to?
So what is it? When you say that it's essentially assessed, what?
It was, I believe Becky found out it was like a mining claim or something, but they don't have anything on the ground that we can sell. And they don't own the ground, they just own rights to do the mining, I guess. And so
Mineral rights.
there's not really anything for us to sell at a tax sale. We have contacted them last year and nothing came of that.
Well, I think we've had this discussion before. If you actually do not have anything to sell, there's nothing for them to forfeit. I mean, it's kind of like we can sell it, but that's not gonna, it's not,
There's nothing for anybody to buy. So,
well, and it's not, they're not losing anything, I
Yeah.
guess, what I'm saying. So, I guess the bottom line is we probably just need to remove it off of the tax sale and remove it, so that it's not showing up as a delinquent tax. Cause I don't know, you say it's centrally assessed, so the state's recognizing there's some value there?
well, I contacted the state about it last year and they said, well, where there's nothing to sell, there's really nothing to do with it. You know,
What's the value of it?
I don't know the value right offhand. The taxes they owe for the last 6 years are $6,000, about $6,800 actually.
So I don't understand how they can be calculating a tax on something that's not,
You gotta
They
talk
don't-
to somebody that knows.
Well, that may be
Taxes.
an assessor question, cause
Because they don't put values on rights, mineral rights and things like that. It's real property, right?
right?
yeah.
Kim knows.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
Possibility that they're taxing the usage of the land though, because that's basically
Well,
what a
kinda
mining
like,
claim is.
you know, how they do the gravel pits are assessed that way.
right, but
They
that's,
don't own the ground, but they own the right to mine the ground, basically.
If that is helpful at all.
Yeah.
Is this a certain spot too? Does it have like a geographical,
Yeah,
like where is it? I'm wondering what why
It
this
will
ever
have
came
a
up.
legal description.
yeah. It seems like it's clear up on Monty or something.
no, it would be over here.
Is it
Yeah.
over here?
Yeah, it would be over here on Crawford Mountain.
Okay.
Can we see if Kim will come in a minute?
I'm interested to know who saw value at one time. Like what is their,
And what they were
what were they
doing
doing?
with it, I don't know.
Cause I hate for something valuable to disappear. and
Well, it makes me wonder, does every mining claim, are they taxed on every mining claim? Cause there's a lot of inactive mining claims throughout the state of Utah, so does that mean everybody that has a mining claim is taxed on their mining claim, and how do they establish a value on that? We need to talk to the state tax commission. That's something that we've not run across before ever. And I mean, when you don't have anything to sell, I mean, you don't have a power pole, you don't have any unit, you don't have anything to sell. I don't know how you recoup your taxes on that, other than you would, well, no, I don't know.
I'm just wondering if there's any value, like could we sell the mining claims
Yeah.
and recoup some money?
I had interest when they were on the tax sale list last year. I had a few people call with interest towards these mining claims.
Hmm.
Hi.
Hi. I don't know that I like getting summoned to the commission meeting. It's kind of like the principal's office.
Summoned?
Summoned.
Do you want me to go print off the tax notice so that we have the?
Yeah, that might be a good idea. We're on
This is
this,
Crawford Mountain property and it's centrally assessed.
Okay.
so apparently it's a mining
I'll go
claim.
for it, Probably.
Tell me how that works. So the state tax commission establishes a value, so.
They have a value and then they send those to us every year and we put the value on and then send the bill out.
And if they don't pay the bill, what is there to sell?
Good question. I don't know the answer to that. I could try to find out for you, but I
Well,
don't know off the top of my head.
Maybe it's just the mining,
The
Permission to
claim, but they would
mine.
have, I'm sure they're mining claims, all of those.
yeah, I mean,
Wasn't there somebody that was here looking for, that actually owned those? There was somebody here last year. Oh, I can't think now who it was.
Can you think of anybody else that you've taxed for mining claims or mineral rights or things
See,
like
and
that?
I don't value them
it
because
would-
we
it's,
don't,
it
they-
just
they-
comes
you-
from the state as.
and they talk to the people and kind of value them. They usually have contacts and things. I can go pull what I have on them for centrally assessed from last year. I won't have any centrally assessed stuff for this year, but I could talk to,
Maybe like the gravel pits? You could see how those are taxed, and maybe it's similar.
Well, they're taxed on the amount of gravel that comes out of them,
the gravel
so
and
it's a
then,
mineral tax, so.
and then they tax the land, but they usually communicate with me on those. But as far as the mining claims, those are patented mining claims, and those aren't just, I don't know that we can sell those. But I can go find out, I can make a couple phone calls and see what I can find out. Cause there are those, the centrally assessed guys that put the values on, that deal with just the mining claims and things.
Well, I'm guessing this mining claim very well may be on federal ground. That's the thing that makes me wonder.
And it could be,
You know, there's a lot of mining that went on along Crawford Mountain, and a lot of that was on BLM ground, you know, I mean, that's,
well, and they own the claims, but I don't know that that's surface, I think that's all
Right,
underground stuff,
right,
is that
yeah.
correct?
yeah.
Cause there was some people here last year, some lady that, she owned one of those, and I'm thinking it was that one, but I could be mistaken. Do we
Well,
have a name?
Crawford Mountain Properties.
That's it,
That's what the tax notice is in.
because there was somebody looking, I said, well, they were gonna be down in the mountain up there, but I don't know that you own the surface
Well,
stuff, but.
it's, you know, the taxes are delinquent, but if there's nothing to sell, I mean, I don't know how you sell a claim. I don't know if that's gonna be possible or not, I don't know.
Let me go make a couple phone calls, are you alright with that? I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
see
we
what I
need to
can
do
find
some
out.
research on what we're gonna do with that.
Let me get some information and I'll be back.
Okay,
Now I feel like I'm in the hot seat.
so Kaia, why don't we move on to you and your GIS contract?
Okay.
We had some discussion about that, and this is with, is there a name? Jerem's gonna do it, but has
yeah.
he got a company name?
Sunrise Engineering.
Oh, that's right, Sunrise. Okay, so, we decided we probably wanted to move on with that, so we probably need to approve the contract with Sunrise and have them get started on our GIS overlays that they're gonna do.
Do you have a copy of that contract
Right here.
that we could look at?
Is that something that one of those other, we ought to bid out,
Well, they've been doing quite a bit of our work.
J&B,
Well, I don't know that,
or if they get into that, I don't know.
Jerem's the one that did our last overlay, and so they have a lot of their information already, so.
And they can pull a lot of that off of the GIS that we currently have. I could just have to drop it into an email and send it to him if he doesn't have it.
So have we already made this motion Cause we've talked about it.
No, we haven't. We need to make a motion to sign the contract.
So it's 29,000. And then $950 a year.
How much per year did you say?
950.
Well, I'd make a motion that we enter into agreement with Sunrise Engineering to do this, GIS thing and get up and running, caught up with everybody and everything else.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second to approve the contract, the GIS contract with Sunrise. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, voting's unanimous on that.
Can't see, I guess we don't need the exact amount.
I think there's an amount in there.
There is.
It's like 89.50 plus 20 grand one-time cost.
Just gonna tie up all your corners and empty spots.
Yes, not instantly, but it will definitely help a lot with that.
All our little slivers that are
And it
unaccounted for.
And we will be moving to a parcel fabric with this new system, so everything will look a lot better, which will definitely be helpful for pushing it onto our website, so.
Right now, a lot of the property lines are not lined up with,
Yeah, corners.
yeah. Okay, so, all right, so we've got Hamway and Barnes LLP. Do we have an address for them?
Yeah, down
Mortgage
at the
comp-
bottom, it's in Boston.
Oh, Boston, Massachusetts, okay.
Do you need me for anything else, or may I be dismissed?
You know.
Thank you.
LouJean don't need you here.
I don't know what, so are these all different parcel numbers that have to do with this?
Yes, if
Yes.
I remember correctly, this is the claim number and this is the land that it affects.
Okay,
So, yeah, and it looks like, based off the parcel numbers, it looks like they're all up on Crawford Mountain. Most of them are in township
so 8 of them.
11 North Range.
Wonder if this is the old Stauffer mine leftovers.
Wonder if it might be.
Yeah, because Hemway and Barnes, they're a ginormous company.
Wonder if they bought Stauffer out.
Okay,
when
thanks,
Stauffer
Kaia.
quit.
They own the parcels or they own the mineral rights?
Mineral rights to them parcels. They don't own the surface, that's under it.
So the number we have is the parcel number to the mineral rights, and then all of these are the parcels that affect those mineral rights.
So why don't you have Kaia take those parcel numbers and generate us a map of where those parcels are so we can kind of see where we're talking about.
Okay,
And, yeah, Kim was gonna make some phone calls, have Kaia generate us a map so we can kind of look at that, and let's, maybe talk about this after lunch.
okay.
I wonder if it's, it probably don't even include oil or gas.
I'm sure it's just mineral, and it may be a specific mineral of just or whatever it may be, you
Some
know,
kind of ore.
yeah.
Phosphate or something.
Okay, I will go have her get that map for you. Is that all you needed from me for right now?
Yeah, I mean, just, yeah, let's see if we can, before the end of the meeting today, let's get a little more information to figure out where we're at with that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, this Bear Lake Special Service District, has some board members that are up.
Is this Scott? Maybe we could let them
Yeah,
talk to us. Are you Scott?
Yeah, Scott and Sharon Heiner.
why don't you come up? I don't know what we can do for you today, but come up and explain to us what you
It's
wanna.
not as weighty of a matter as what you've been discussing. We,
So identify yourself for our.
I'm Scott Heiner, and
Okay.
my wife Sharon Heiner.
Okay,
We live in Sweetwater Golf Course in neighborhood.
okay,
We have, we've been renting our house, well, that's our house, that's our only residence. But we've traveled a lot and decided, well, as long as we travel visiting family, we'll rent our place out. So we went through Vacasa, and in April 2019, we got a short-term rental license. And every December, that license has been renewed, $150 in 2019, 2020, 21. And then we decided, that's not working out so well, we decided to sell our house. And we put a hold on any more bookings for the rental through Vacasa. And back in May, we put the for sale sign up, and we just had a few residual reservations. That the last rental was in September, and we sold our house is up for sale. It's the closing date is the 28th of February, and but lo and behold, Vacasa paid the short-term rental renewal again in December, and we didn't catch that. So the new owner doesn't intend to rent the place out, and so we were just asking if it's possible. I talked to Mitch Paulson, and he said that we need to talk to you guys. So just a refund of the $150 renewal that was paid on the 15th of December. That's all we ask. I guess we won't, it's not gonna break us if we can't get the refund, but.
Yeah. I think we're probably happy to do that, but since just law dictates that we have to put it on an agenda, and we missed the time frame from when you requested, so we'd have to wait till next month to actually take action on it. But we can discuss it now and then let you know
Okay.
in March.
Now, we'll be gone, well, your next meeting, I understand, is scheduled for the 8th of March.
Maybe, yeah, and you wouldn't even have to be here since we're talking to you now.
it would be just if you wanted to leave us an address of where we could,
Sure.
remit your refund, we could do that.
Okay.
Our agenda items are set, they have to be on
I
and
understand,
published
and we
24
didn't,
hours in advance.
I talked to Mitch yesterday and missed
Yeah.
it by 24 hours.
Yeah, well,
So, yeah, we're going to have our address in Hiram, Utah. Do you have the? Shoot.
Did you guys, so
It's
you've
in my
already,
phone out in the car.
have you bought another house?
No,
Well, no,
this is
we're
our daughter.
temporarily gonna stay with our daughter in
We're gonna have our
Hiram
mail
until
sent
we,
there. Yeah.
we don't know what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
We're thinking of
30.
moving elsewhere. Where we can sell our house and then buy another one for less, because so we're thinking of the Midwest.
Yeah, it's tricky to do now.
As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
we fly all over the country with Southwest Airlines. My wife used to work for Southwest, so it doesn't matter where we end up, because we still fly around and visit
I don't
family.
think I have Holly's address exactly.
It's on my phone. If I can grab it.
If you would just leave it in the clerk's office so that we've got that as we go
Okay.
take that action, we can
You
take
got
care
till
of it.
next month. for us
Yeah,
to do that.
we can work that out.
Yeah.
I just can't remember exactly.
But yeah, the 28th of February is closing, and we're gone. And
Okay.
but,
Sounds good.
I
Yeah.
Think we,
appreciate your kindness.
Yeah,
So generally, people aren't moving out of here. That's interests me that you're
Well,
leaving because
it is
everybody's
weird.
coming in.
So we put the for sale sign up
into
in
Utah,
May.
you mean?
No, well, in the Bear Lake area.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, we put the for sale sign up and missed, we thought we were gonna hit the peak of the market,
Yeah.
and we missed it. It was on the downswing, and we've had a couple of dozen people come and look, but no interest, no bites or anything, and
just recently.
until December.
Oh.
And there's one
Really?
guy in Sandy that he wants to buy the house, and so it was kind of all of a sudden, we're packing up and
So people are moving in?
Well, I mean, it's just growing.
Oh, right,
oh,
okay.
it's growing.
I was gonna say,
And we've been here
Yeah.
7 years,
in
and
that 7 years, we bought it at 300,000 and we sold it for 700.
Mhm.
So for us, it makes sense to take that money, buy a $350,000 house, which is almost as big as the one we have now
Right.
in the Midwest, and call it good.
Yeah.
Because right now, we still have a house payment, and so we
Right.
wouldn't have a house payment,
True.
the taxes in general, I've been doing a lot of studying, but the taxes in general in the Midwest are a lot cheaper too. So it'll just be a win-win for us, and we've loved it here. I mean, I wouldn't sell otherwise, but
we
just
were
makes
renting
sense.
because we needed the income, to help pay the mortgage
Yeah.
and that, but renting isn't all it's cracked up to be.
Mhm.
yeah. Anyway, all right.
All right, folks.
I'll make sure to give you our new address to
Yeah.
the clerk's office.
And we'll make sure we get it on our agenda in our next meeting and take some action with it,
Yeah,
okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Okay.
appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Good luck with your deals.
I would have a lot of fun looking at lots of houses around the country, so.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks.
See ya.
All right, Bear Lake Special Service District board members, they have some terms, some of their board members, their terms are up. And they've selected some names that they would like us to reappoint. Larry Asay and Mike Leonhardt and Richard Droesbeke.
these guys are all currently on it already?
They are,
Okay.
yeah,
And they've agreed to stay on.
apparently, yeah.
I don't see a problem with that. I'll make a motion that we just accept these, Larry Asay, Mike Leonhardt, and Richard Droesbeke for renewal on the Bear Lake Special Service District for 4-year term.
Second that motion.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion passes unanimously.
Is that Richard Senior or Junior?
That's senior. Did they, Annalisa, did they just call on that, or did they send us a letter? Email?
Do you have to live in this service district to be on the board?
Yes, you do. You do not have to live full-time, but you do have to live within the district. All right, our Woodruff Creek Watershed Grant, they've requested us to send a letter to request an extension of another year for their grant as they're going through their process of engineering for either a dam relocation or I don't know what you'd want to call it, raising the dam that's there currently. So we need to request to NRCS, I believe it is, a letter on behalf of them for, because we are sponsoring them, a letter of extension.
So, doesn't cost anything.
No, it's a no-cost thing for anybody. It's just a matter that their deadline is up and they can get a year extension if it's requested, so they've asked to do that.
Okay.
So we need a motion for us to sign a letter of extension request.
Make that motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, okay. And Lisa, I believe you have,
Do they give her the paperwork and all that? It's not supposed to be our deal, right?
well, they submit,
They gave us an example.
Okay.
yeah, they,
As long as you
they
don't
got,
have.
they give a template, and I was
Yeah.
just gonna say, and Lisa, I think, has a template, she can kinda look at that. And
I just didn't want her to have to
No,
dig through the
no,
letter.
I'll work with her on that. It's just a matter of a template that they've got, so. All right, as far as our March meeting, so we were looking at that at March 8th, but apparently there is court on that day. And so the next available, well, if we continue to hold it on Wednesday, would be the 15th, or, let's see, when will you guys be returning, John?
I'm honestly don't even know the plan. Probably the 3rd, I would guess.
I'll be back on the 2nd because I've gotta do payroll or I'll be working to do it. In fact, if we had to hold it on the 1st, I could have one of the deputy clerks step in for me.
Well, but John wouldn't be here
John will
either.
not be here.
Yeah, I would say probably the 2nd or the 3rd would be back. And if we wanted to do it on the 3rd, we could just be back by then. On a Friday or following Monday.
Yeah, I just can't imagine that they'll have a whole week of court, but they very well may, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that we can't guess, cause we've gotta advertise the meeting, and, the only other option would be to go, the 13th, 14th, and 15th are out, for me. We could do it on the 16th. I would rather not, we're still in the legislative session, but
Yeah, I like to go to those Thursday meetings too. We could just cancel March meeting.
So, and you said that you thought it'd go until the 10th? You got that full week?
Yeah,
That's-
it
that's
could,
what's-
it's a jury trial.
that's what's set aside. They've reserved that for an entire week, so.
Yeah, you can't.
Could we hold the commission meeting somewhere else one time or no? Like in Garden City or on the 8th? We're allowed to do that in a limited capacity, I think.
As long as we notice it, right?
So what's wrong with the 2nd? You said you could be back the 2nd.
Yeah, but that is, if I was back on the 2nd, like Bill said, I'd probably wanna go down to the
Oh.
Thursday meetings.
And, I don't know that it's an issue. We could move it to the 3rd.
I could be back on the 3rd.
What about you and Lisa?
To be on the 3rd?
Yeah.
I could do that.
Would that work okay with you? What about you, Sam?
Get a public land steering committee, but I don't know what that, maybe I can skip that.
What time's it?
11.
11 to 12.
You can just turn on the Zoom meeting and put your headphones in.
Which, so is that a NACO public line steering meeting?
I think state, but I didn't write it down here, so I don't know.
Yeah, the reason I asked that is I'm wondering if you would even, if that's a NACO one, the very next week is the Ledge Conference, and it would surprise me that they would hold a meeting that close to the Ledge Conference, but then again, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the Ledge Conference is in February.
I'm in, yeah, gee, mini Christmas, let me get here.
But it's only a month after the Ledge Conference.
Right, so they probably would be having that.
Might just be their annual, we can tune in and just have going here.
Yeah, so the second,
Let's
as
do
far
that.
as the second, the legislature ends that day, so,
Let's try the 3rd.
okay. Let's set it up for March 3rd.
At the same time?
Yep,
That'll have the road department guy not work on Friday.
yeah, unless there's plowing snow. But if we need Brandon to come in, he would come in.
Or is he today?
They're out trying to get everything winged back. Been trying to get everything running and everything else.
I
It's
was gonna
just
ask
been-
him about the wing and back thing, cause
Casey's been,
our roads are going down to
He was
two trains.
he was at Manhead on my way out, pushing it all back.
Casey's to Deseret and Brandon's down working this way. He's got everything over Garden City and
And he was in Jade's there, trying to do those snow fences out in his meadow. Oh my gosh. You couldn't even see the V-blade in the front.
yeah,
That is deep snow.
well, and they've been stuck, and I mean, it's just been,
I don't know how they can push it, cause it's,
they're earning their money, I can tell you what, they're doing a
so
good
how
job.
often you talk to your district UDOT region guy?
Once a month or sooner.
These guys need a gold star.
Oh, we've already had that discussion several times. I've been sending Rob pictures.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've never, in my 64 years of life, seen so much work done up on that
yeah,
hill.
yeah. Well, and all the way along, everything's winged back, and
Yeah, immediately after a storm.
yeah, yesterday they had 3 loaders up there, moving
All
it back.
day
and
long.
There's a lot of snow there. I mean, they can get in trouble.
Okay, so I can't get anybody to answer their phone at the tax commission, and I've tried 5 different people. So I don't know any more than when I left, but I'll try to find out. But they are the mining claims. And this wasn't the lady that came. I think the lady that came was with Phosphate Industries,
Okay.
which was kind of, I'm guessing, the same kind of thing. This looks like the information is an attorney, Hemingway and something back in Boston.
Yeah.
So other than that, I don't know a lot, but I'll get a hold of I'll see if they won't call me back, the guy that's kind of over our mining stuff, and see if they've got some contact information of some people that we can contact.
Yeah, do a little research on this and find out just exactly, I
And
mean,
if they're delinquent, what we've got to hold over their head.
Yeah. Well, and it has, like, when I looked up the one mining claim, the first one, it has like 20.66 acres. So maybe they do have some acreage associated with that, and I don't know.
she's looking, they had some parcel numbers. There was a parcel number on the tax notice, but they think that was probably just for the
That's the overall parcel.
claim, yeah.
Because,
And then they listed the parcel numbers, and Kaia was gonna make us generate some map, and we could see where those were at.
okay, cause there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mining claims
Yeah.
associated with it. But when they send me this stuff, this is what they send to me. They just send it like Crawford Mountain Properties, Inc., and then here's the
The
parcel
claim,
number,
yeah.
and then here's the total assessment. And that's the tax area that's in, so it's in 112, which is outside of Randolph. But they don't, and so that's the parcel number that we use to encompass all of these. Debbie has these as placeholders, but they don't have a tax associated with them. She's just got them as placeholders to mark the claims, so we know what they are. Because like this one says something about Walla Walla, and then it has some numbers and some other stuff with it when you look up that. But when they send it, it's just associated with this number, and so Crawford Mountain properties only are taxed on this number for all of these claims.
And we don't sell claims, like if they don't pay their taxes.
I don't know what we can do. I've never had this happen. So I'll find out what our recourse is.
Stauffer used to have all that underground from Razor clear to the highway, but there behind Burdett's they had 1 or 2 strip mining places. It would be about 20 acres. And that was the only place they strip mined. All the rest was underground.
Well, and see, we don't have, like, Stauffer's not on here anymore. There's an FFC Corp that would be the same kind of thing.
So,
Crawford Mountain, and then this Phosphate Industries, I think, is here, which would be a similar kind of thing. And
This was supposed to be the best phosphate.
I think that's all of the mining
Anywhere.
stuff that we deal with, is those 3.
so FMC, weren't they the ones that took over Stauffer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's where they are. So I don't know other than that, but I've got some calls in, so I'll see what I can find out back to you. If I can get some information today, I'll come back in and talk to you about it.
Okay.
Is that fair enough?
Yeah, let's just work on it. If you get something today, great. If not, let's
Okay.
just bring it up again in March and make a decision on what we can do.
What we can do, because I don't know.
I-
And then-
something new.
Are you gonna have me come in?
Yeah, do you wanna just come in now?
Yeah, I'll just go get my stuff. I just have a couple of refunds.
Okay.
Okay. If you're good with that, I'll be right back.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's talk about them. Okay, so we'll reschedule our meeting for March 3rd. All right, and the minutes, we're gonna delay the approval of the minutes until March. She's still working on the minutes, and so we will delay that. Our expenditures. John, have you been reviewing expenditures?
Yeah, here's December's. I've looked through those. I'm still waiting on that one invoice for January. So they haven't been punched into the book yet.
And this is January's.
That's just, I think, a full year.
Next time, do you guys want me to send those in your packet, the expenditure stuff, so you can pre-review it?
Right.
Okay.
No.
You don't
That's
even like
too
your
much.
packet, do you?
I do. I really do.
Yeah.
Can I ask about the Granicus thing? Have you got to that?
No, but go ahead.
Are they gonna do something with the state on short-term rentals? Because at my assessor school in December, first part of December, they were talking about maybe going with a company to track short-term rentals for the state instead of doing it individually by counties. And I don't know where they're at with that, if you've heard any more on that.
So there was some discussion. At this point in time, I don't think there's any legislation that's gonna do that. But there's several, I don't know. The tourism council is behind several pieces of legislation to try to do statewide tracking, as well as, well, I guess basically statewide tracking, so that they have a better feel of what's going on statewide versus counties, and where they're at. But I don't know.
Because I had heard some rumblings that they may go with a company, like contract with a company, then all the counties, they would be we would be using that company.
Yeah, I
Because
don't,
there was, there's one outfit with Dustin, I can't, Relic, I think, or something like that, I think they're out of Colorado. And he's got a pretty good product, as far as tracking all sorts of stuff for us, rental history and a bunch of stuff. And he was there, they're one of the sponsors for our assessor school, and, I think it's Deckard Technologies. And I don't know if the state, I just heard rumblings that they were maybe thinking about it, and I don't know if it was the tax commission or the tax commissioners or who it was. And I just didn't know, but, I mean, it would make sense because I track them for personal property, but the Granicus stuff hasn't seemed to really help me. They're not up to date with a lot of stuff, and there's duplicates.
well,
I tried to use them for a bit, and it was taking me more time than it was ever helping me. And most of our short-term rentals that we're tracking for personal property taxes, I've been doing that online. Like, we go onto the website and we try to search out. Ones that are getting business licenses are easy. The ones that aren't are a little harder. But if they're renting in them and they're advertising, that's how I was picking them up.
Okay.
But I don't know where this Granicus, I don't know if I don't know what the tax commission or what they were even thinking about, but there was some rumblings about that. And I thought if they're gonna contract it with someone and then we could use that, it would save us having to contract on our own. Does that make sense?
right, and that's what they would do. They would probably do a statewide thing, but they would make us all probably pay a portion of,
A portion of
you
it
know,
or something
yeah, it would be
to that effect.
prorated or something like that. I don't know, we have looked at this GovOS, and they gave us a proposal. We're looking at that proposal. If we, went together with Garden City so that they were doing Garden City and the county as well, we get a little better rate on what they would do for us, and we do feel like that they would be much better than the Granicus. Our Granicus does not expire for another 3 months, and so we've got to have this discussion about do we pay for 2 services and sign a contract with GovOS right now with Garden City because their Granicus is up as of yesterday. And they intend to go with GovOS. They feel like it's a better product and gives them better information.
Okay.
It's
Have they looked at anybody else other than the GovOS and Granicus?
I don't know whether they have or not.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it just seemed like there may be some other products out there than the one we're using. And like I said, I had to beg them to get on. I said, well, shouldn't I be able to get on where the county is contracted to use there? And it was quite the process. And then when I got on and was trying to use it, it was a mess. At least that's what when I looked at it, I'm like, this is a mess. They're not up to date, they're not accurate, they're not, I don't know,
I've logged in a few times and it's kind of hard to use also.
Yeah, and I know there was things that were duplicates that they hadn't merged together or made into one. They hadn't researched it enough or talked to people or whatever.
Yeah.
And
some of it's our problem, some of it's not utilizing it properly or,
probably, yeah.
uniform in the way we approach short-term rentals. But it seems like we've been really working with GovOS for a while. And one of the biggest things that I think we all like is how involved they are with us as far as migrating over and then continual support. Because it's really hard, like you said, to even just get access. It's difficult to find who to talk to.
Yeah.
With GovOS, I'm hoping we can just have a dedicated account manager that we can bug all the time,
That we can talk to if we
Yeah.
have questions and whatnot, and that will work.
that knows our county.
Well, and Granicus has never come to me for any information, which I felt has been real weird. They came this year and wanted a bunch of information, and I told them I did the grammar request like I do for everybody, and I said it's $200 if you want the entire assessment roll. And this lady come back and said, well, I've been circling with my team. That's how she starts out, and I'm thinking, circling number 13, about number one, filling out the grandma request, and number two, $200. And I asked Becky, I said, are we paying a buttload for this program? And she says, yes. And I said, so $200, what's that? And then Mitch said, I said, well, I can talk to the commissioners and we can probably waive it. But I said, anybody else that calls up and wants the entire assessment roll, this is what we charge. I don't think that's an extreme amount. And I didn't see what the big deal was. But that's the first and only time they've reached out at all to try to get, because I'm sure they're gonna need my information as far, or somebody in the county's information, to get like your build, square footage, current owner information, things like that, because those short-term rentals are changing a lot.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, but I just didn't,
Seems like they'd wanna do that like every quarter almost, you know,
or sooner,
Yeah,
once a
just
month or something even.
update it.
But it just has been weird. I don't know. So just put a plug in that I'm not impressed with them. If I can put my 2 cents worth in, then there you go. Might be worth 1 cent is all, but or a half. But there you have it.
On a good day, maybe 4,
There you
twice
go.
as much.
Okay, so Kim Wilson, Rich County Assessor. I do have 2 refunds. One is Carson and Samantha Ellingford. There was an acreage, an incorrect acreage on a parcel, and so I've gone down the total for the, let's see, how many years? Because it's been, let's see, 2020, the total refund would be $361.04, is what we figured. So it'd be $63.68 for 2020, 21, and 22 on the one piece, because there's 2 parcels, and then on the other one it would be $297.36. So the total is $361.04, and it was an acreage. We had more acreage on there than they actually had. So if you want to look at that, you're welcome to look at that. And then the other one is Water's Edge, and I had their new condo buildings. I had one of those buildings on with their main, where Cody's in their main building, where Cody's is at, and the spa and whatever else they have in there. Because their building permits that they're getting are very unclear. So when I had a conversation with this gentleman, so that building was split out into their own individual condo units, because there's 8 condo units per building, and there's gonna be 5 buildings. And so, this is the refund to get that building taken off and correct some square footage that was not correct within that building. And their refund would be $5,445.16, and it's only on one parcel number. So theirs is by far the biggest refund.
So, with that, you say that you split it out, so was there another parcel added now?
There's 40 more parcels added. Because,
Okay,
but they
so-
still have this one, but before, I didn't know that they had split them all out onto their individual condo units. And so when they got the permit for the original building, the first building, Building E that they're building now,
Yeah.
that's mostly complete on the outside. The others are still just wood on the outside, but I had put that building on with this parcel, and I hadn't split those condo units out.
Okay.
Because I didn't know that they'd even done that until he called me and he said, why did this go up so much? So, because you got a whole new building on there. He's like, well, it's not on there. And so when we got to digging into it, that was the situation, is I had put it on that, but I'd also valued each of those condo units. I had separated them out and valued those. Had a land value on the ones that didn't have anything built on them at this point. And this is for 2022. And and back, you can see the different years.
Okay. All right, so we didn't get you on the agenda, 24 hours in
That was
advance.
my fault, and I apologize.
Yeah.
So do you want me to come back in March? on
Yeah,
those?
I mean, I think we're happy to approve these, and it will only take a few minutes now that we've discussed it,
Okay.
but it'll have to be on the next.
But we'll put it on the March agenda so
And
that
just
it
come
is
in
there.
there. Okay.
Where it is a refund,
You better make sure it's on there.
Yeah, we need to have it on there.
Perfect, I can
But-
do that, not a
But,
problem.
but we do
I
have
wondered
the
about that.
information, so,
Because I talked to Annalisa yesterday, and that was my fault for not getting on, so I apologize, I
and
don't always
We'll
get the
definitely do
dates.
them, so.
we'll have to kind of remember to make sure that if you want to be on the agenda, that
I'll put myself,
between, yeah,
on
between
right now.
her and,
This December, that's January.
Annalisa, I need to be on the March agenda.
between you and her, try to remember
Yeah.
that, with commission meeting. Now, we are gonna have commission meeting in March on the 3rd, Friday the 3rd,
Friday the 3rd.
yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be a problem, I won't be able to come back.
Well, it won't matter.
That's state basketball.
Well, it won't matter. We'll have you on the agenda. We've already reviewed it.
So it's just a matter of formality of
Yeah,
doing it,
we
okay.
will.
All right, because, yeah, we will be at state basketball.
Unless there's new information you need to present to us, we'll just list it on the agenda and take action.
There won't be any new information on these.
Okay.
Good luck in the state.
Yeah, thank you. I was just like, wait a minute, March 3rd, there's something going on. Yeah, it's the 1st to the 4th of March, it's state basketball, so.
Yeah, we moved
Chance
it.
We'll have to go down to the next day.
Yeah.
So, there we go. All right, well, thank you, gentlemen, I appreciate
Okay.
your time. Did you have anything else for me?
Other than if you can
The
figure,
Fed phosphate,
yeah,
or
then-
Crawford Mountain?
yeah, if you come up with anything else. Thank
All
you.
right. I will get to these to you before I leave, and then you can maybe present them. And then you'll have copies, also I'll make copies for you as well. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks. So she brought up the Granicus and the GovOS. In discussions with Mayor Leonhardt, I've talked to him a couple of different times. They feel like that they are certainly willing to, or are going to go with GovOS and not renew their contract with Granicus. In discussion with GovOS, they can give us a better deal if we're willing to have a package with Garden City. I'm not sure that, I guess that's a discussion we need to have is that something where we want to go with or not? And if so, it is going to be a little more money. Not exactly sure what that's going to be yet. The numbers are still up there. On our first review, it was pretty expensive. They have, I believe, came down some, but she's still working on trying to nail down what Garden City is, what modules Garden City wants to use. Let me just put it that way, and that will kind of determine what the overall cost is going to be. So we need to have some discussion about that. So.
Yeah, when we met with them, just by chance, when we were up at the state capitol, they mentioned they were gonna drop the price quite a bit. Cause I told them what we were paying Granicus, which is about 15,000, and they thought they could get pretty dang close to that for our portion of it. I'm not sure if they're gonna hit that, but I'm happy to use them even just a little bit more, since we'll get that extra support to actually take advantage of the program.
Yeah, I think the issue, it's just gonna continue to grow. Our program's just gonna continue to grow, so I'm a little interested about the statewide thing. We'll have to do some inquiring there that Kim just mentioned about. I know the Tourism Council was in the process of wanting to do something, but I don't know where and what traction they've got with that, so I'll follow up with that and see if I can find out if they're looking at doing some legislation to actually mandate that and then fund it, or whether we're on the hook to fund it, so. All right, so we're still working with GovOS. I guess that's where we're at, until they come forward with a solid proposal. I guess we probably need to just continue to have discussions with them. The next item she has listed on here is a CenturyLink accounting issue. So somewhere along the line, CenturyLink has been part of our 911 system. And about, oh my heavens, clear back 6 months ago or 8 months ago, they sent us a bill for $8,847 saying that they missed billing us this amount for services they rendered in literally 3 years back. And it's kind of like, and we had Brian get a hold of them to try to find out what was going on, and why they missed the whole, why all of a sudden we were getting this bill. And they said that there was an accounting issue in their billings, and I believe it was like 2019 and 2020, and that we owed this amount of money. So they've continued to bill us, and
How much is it, you say?
$8,847. So that's a 3-year issue that they had. Our 911 bills run around $75,000 a year, and so I don't know what we can do with this. They continue to bill us and say we owe it to them. We are still using CenturyLink, however they are under a different name now. I don't remember what the new name is.
Lumen.
Lumen?
Lumen, Lumen.
Oh, that's right, Lumen. So we're still using their service. Unfortunately, we don't have any options about that. And I don't know what recourse we've got other than the fact that, they have the documentation that said that they had underbilled us basically those 3 years, and this was the total amount that the county owed them for back service. I guess in my mind, it's pretty hard to dispute what they're billing us for. I guess we could just say, no, we're not gonna pay you, but at somewhere down the line, they may discontinue, service to us, and it's our 911 system. So they do have the ability to, no longer provide us service through our 911 system. I don't know that that's, I don't think that's the direction they certainly want to go, but
Well,
we need to make a decision, and I think probably unless we've got evidence and can dispute what they're saying, other than it's pretty offensive to me that they bill you, now and the first bill actually they rebilled us again in November. This bill that Annalise is attached here is in November, but the first bill come clear back in May. And we had Brian do some research and try to, either negotiate or find out, get some information. And he basically just said that it was an accounting error on their part over a 3-year period of time, that there was, and I believe it was another, so they provide the, what should I call it, the sites where we used a triangle to identify locations, and PSAP is what it is. And so they basically just said that there was one that we were using that was continually providing service to us that they had not billed us for. And so that was their justification, and they never found it for 3 years, and then all of a sudden started billing us.
But we've had some, Brian went and tried to negotiate.
He did, he contacted him, he didn't get anywhere with them. They basically just said, look, you know, we provide you the service, it was our error, but the problem is the service is provided to you. So,
We better pay it then.
I think where it's a county issue and we continue to have to use their service, we probably, I mean, unless we can dispute it, which it's pretty tough to dispute.
Yeah.
And it'll just be included in our 911 account and we'll move on from there, I guess. I don't know what else to do.
I'd make the motion that we get current with CenturyLink and move on from here.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, all right. So you have your direction there, okay. All right, so we're doing a boundary and annexation survey. And I think what this has got to do with is the boundaries and the annexations for the census. And this is all Annalisa's deal. We'll just turn that over to her.
Good luck.
In the past, Debbie pretty much handled these surveys, and I don't know, we probably ought to talk to Kaia. And what this basically does is make sure that when they do censuses that they have the city annexations correct, and any new subdivisions or anything like that they are included in the surveys, and if anything's been changed since the last census. So I don't know how detailed it is and how big of a deal it is. I do know Debbie handled most of this in the past, and I'm not sure how involved Crystal was with it. I find it interesting. It says the federal government allocates more than $675 billion in federal funds annually for health, welfare, infrastructure, and education and other federal programs and services. Correct boundaries ensure governments receive funds appropriately and have the best data available for the decision-making process. And what that basically does is just make sure that if our population increases, and it's on a funding formula, that those populations are increased. And if, for example, if the city was applying for something, that the correct annexation boundaries within the city are the ones that are in the formula to them, for them to receive money, as well as the county as well. So it's something we need to do. I'm not sure. It is voluntary, however, but if there's any change, and I don't know that there has been any change other than Garden City has done some annexations, and Randolph did one, but I believe those have probably been picked up for the most part since their last ones, but I do not know that. So maybe we could have Kaia work on this and
I was
see.
gonna say, Kaia's the only one that would know. So we need to get her.
If she's willing to do it, we maybe ought to see if she would be willing to. There's actually some webinars that help them along the way as well. And, you know, I mean, maybe this is something she may want to turn over to her new deputy to watch the webinars and help her with that. I don't know.
Do you want me to ask her then, or are you gonna ask?
Well, we can assign it to you, and
No, we gotta have her come in and we can ask her.
I noticed that you know, the email come, can Lisa?
Pert,
Will,
P-E-R-T.
Yeah.
They even not only pronounced it wrong, they even spelled it wrong. Or was that the other one I was looking at?
no, that's the
That's
rest,
this
that's the one, yeah. And then we've got the Clean Darn Air Act, that's initiative that's going on, and they're gonna hold some public hearings around the state to have an initiative to get it on the ballot to vote about clean air standards in the state of Utah. And so this initiative's kind of been put together with Brody Bailey's the one that's putting it together, and they're holding hearings. Our hearing is actually in Cache County, and it's called the Clean the Air Carbon Tax Initiative. And so they're holding one in Cache County on February 10th at 3:30. What they would like us to do is notice those up here in our county, that there's one being held over there, and we encourage people to attend it.
Look out that window, that's pretty crystal clean air.
I guess, you know, in my mind, if they want to notice it over here, they probably ought to come and notice it. But I mean, it's their initiative.
That's kind of what I thought.
If we want to get behind it, that's fine. I mean, I don't have any problem with them holding hearings, and you know, they're gonna try and get it on the ballot. They've got to have so many hearings and so many signatures to get it on the ballot. So. What it basically says is that our proposal puts $100 million a year into local air quality programs and $50 million a year into rural economies, and eliminates the state sales tax on grocery store food, and expands the state's earned income tax credit match for low-income working families, and pays for it all with the modest carbon tax on the fossil fuels that are the main source of both air pollution and global climate. So basically what it is basically going to be a tax on the gallons of gas that you put in your car. It says ag diesel is exempt, and there is a long phase-in of carbon tax for industrial users to help them maintain competitiveness. So there it is.
So, do I need to notice that since the Lieutenant Governor's office is involved with this, then I need to notice it on their behalf then, posted on our public website?
I'm guessing that you may need to. I was wondering about that, and I was gonna say we may wanna just verify with the Lieutenant Governor's office that we do need to do it, because it didn't, that actual email did not come from the Lieutenant Governor's office. It come from this organizer.
ADJOURN.
Yeah.
And then the Bailey.
Right. So you might want to verify with them, but you know, I don't know. That was a question I have, and I was gonna actually see if I could talk to somebody this week at the Lieutenant Governor's office a little bit more about it, see what their thoughts are.
Okay.
So the next item is a new sanitation loader, quotes and review. The sanitation supervisor has been,
I think, did Lynn wanna be part of this? I think he's out there still.
well, yeah, he can be. He's in the process of trying to get another quote from Caterpillar. One of the things that we need to have a discussion about is, you know, it's great, we've got quotes. But we will have to figure out just exactly, what our financial options are for those purchases. And I don't know that we're that far along yet to do that. Still, kind of up in the air on receiving some more what is the RATC? What was that acronym? It's not the ARA money. It's
LATCS.
LATCF money. We still haven't received our second payment there. So we've got to look and see what our options are and make sure the parameters of both the ARA money and the LATCF money would, at this point in time, I'm pretty sure they can be used for such purchases, but we need to verify those things. And we'll have that opportunity in a week or so with some people at the National Association of Counties who have been helping to administrate these funds. So we have an application that we have put before the Joint Highway Committee to the non-urban fund, an application for $2,100,000 and some odd $1,000 to redo the road. I don't know, part of it's in Lake Town, part of it's in Cisco Road, and part of it's the Meadowville Road. So there's three different parts. Part of it's a minor collector, part of it's a major collector. We probably need to make a motion to make that application submittal. It will require some match money. The $2 million is the maximum that they can award, and it's a 7% match, and so there'll have to be some match money involved if we're awarded that. Now this money will be programmed out probably to 2025 and 2026 once it's awarded. There is not an awful lot of money in the program this year, and so it's not likely that it will get funded. I will just be that upfront about that. It's not likely that it'll get funded this year, but it's important to make the application so that they can get it on their list, so that next year we can resubmit the same project, and we will maybe be successful next year in making the list. So I'm not sure that, I'm almost positive that we won't be successful this year. I hate to say that, but with the amount that they have to allocate, there's about 10 different projects, and so I'm not sure how high we'll rate there, but it's important to keep applying every year, because that kind of puts us in queue. So some of the projects that they're looking at this year was submitted last year, so they'll be probably given priority as the fact that they were not able to be funded last year. So same thing for us next year. But I need a motion to sign that application, and as the chair, or to sign it as on behalf of the county and get it submitted to the Joint Highway Committee.
Can I make that motion?
Second.
Have a motion and a second for our application submittal. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Sorry, that was a lengthy explanation, but it is what it is, so. Okay, so what are we waiting on? Are we waiting on anybody? Oh, well, yeah, I think this I think this thing with Crawford Mountain Properties, we probably need to put on the agenda for next month.
Yeah.
And in this month of doing a little more research about finding out what our limitations are on that and go from there.
I wonder if we ought to have Kaia come in and see if she wants to take on this.
I'll go ask her and see what she wants to do.
And then do you guys vocalize the approvals of those expenditures?
Yes, we will, when we're done.
I'm still waiting for that invoice.
We were still wondering on the one invoice that was quite large, so.
Yes, it was.
That nobody can find. Did you sign December's? Okay.
I got one question, but I'll wait till we're not streaming.
I have a couple of questions that, might have to do with, I might have to put on the agenda, but I don't know, I can
You're
ask
back
someone.
again?
Apparently. I just do what I'm told. Sometimes.
Okay, so, the Census Bureau has, they have a survey, and what the survey basically is, it basically verifies our boundaries that we have within the county of what the cities are, and what it is it's just, you just go through and it's a survey, and Debbie was kind of the one that kept our boundaries, because of the fact that any time that you have annexations, you know, when the census wants to wants a number on how many people live in Garden City, for example. If those boundaries change, then the census numbers change. Mm-hmm. And so she was always, every year or so, or every couple of years, they send these surveys out to make sure and verify that the boundaries for particular municipalities are accurate and correct in where they're at, so that as they continue with their yearly census samples, that they're doing them in the proper place. So we wondered if you would be willing to take that on, and you know, I mean, maybe even your clerk could learn how to do that, because it's probably going to happen. I believe they do it I don't know that they do it every year, but every couple of years they just have you do the survey.
Okay.
I don't know that it's a huge thing.
Well, and I think I already have a lot of that information on there, cause I feel like I remember Crystal talking to them, like when she very first started, so.
Yeah.
I probably have most of that information already, I just have to be able to find it.
So Annalisa got a survey about it and an email, and she'll just forward that to you, and it gives some links of the survey response, as well as some webinars that you can get on, and it, you know, probably gives you some information of how to do that. And one of the things that it brings up is that the allocation of federal dollars, particularly, a lot of those are allocated on census numbers and geographic areas and those kind of things. And so the numbers need to be pretty accurate if we're going to get our share of the money, basically, so to speak. So particularly with the cities, if they're asking for federal dollars, to make sure that their new annexations are included in the census boundaries. So, okay, you're willing to take that on. Awesome.
Uh-oh, another job.
Sure, why not? Right?
Thanks, guys.
Yep, I will, and if I don't wanna
Thank you.
do
Do you
it, I
guys,
can give it to
do
them.
these guys know you're deputy?
Yeah, have you guys?
No,
met him? Do you want me to
We
bring-
haven't, yeah.
Yep.
Bring her in.
So this is my deputy, Victoria Latin.
Hi.
Hi again.
Hi again.
I'm Bill Cox.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
John.
Nice to meet you.
These are your guys if you have any problem with the county.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about you.
I'm from Oregon. I live in Woodruff.
I bet you're just glad to be here, aren't you?
I am. I love it here.
40 below zero.
Where I grew up, it didn't get quite as cold, but we had a lot of snow. So yeah, I grew up in the mountains. So I'm used to the snow, but the negative 40 below is something that I'm getting used to, I guess. I'm trying to.
You'll never get used to it.
Oh,
but-
good answer.
Hopefully
Yeah.
it'll go away
Yeah.
as fast as it comes. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely something else. But
Okay.
Yeah.
I was telling
Well-
Norm yesterday that we needed to do our part to contribute to global warming.
yeah. No kidding.
Hey, I mean, really? It's 20 degrees warmer this morning than it was yesterday.
We must be doing something
And
right
it felt, you could feel it. It was nice.
You could feel it didn't hurt to breathe outside.
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's nice to meet you and
Nice to meet you.
welcome to the Rich County team.
Thank you. I'm enjoying it.
Good.
Lots.
She hasn't run away yet, so.
Good. Okay.
How long you been working with Kaia? When did you start?
A month?
Yeah, I used to. She
Not
started
even a
on
month
like
yet.
the 8th,
It's
like the
yeah, it's like
January.
the third week. Yeah.
Coming up on it, huh?
Yep. Almost there.
Yeah, good.
Well, thanks for coming in and
Absolutely.
meeting us.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, see ya.
Yeah.
I need to talk to you when you're done here.
We don't have you on the agenda, Sheriff, but come on up.
Yes, yes, we do. It's for the executive session. I didn't identify that.
Oh. Well, before we go into executive session, I'd make a motion that we approve December and January's expenditures.
Second that motion.
And as long as we get that one.
Yeah, we're waiting for one receipt, but everything else looks just perfect.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the expenditures. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, expenditures will be approved. All right, I need a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session with our sheriff.
And this will be for personnel issues.
Personnel, EMT actually, so.
Okay,
Personnel, EMT. Got it.
Second.
okay, I have a motion second. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
All right, all right. We will